안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Thursday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon So-ah in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-trends, K-films, K-everything. Today we're joined by our co-host Bella Kim. Hello, Bella.
Hi, So-ah. And hello to everyone tuning into today's episode of The Culture Wave. I'm Bella, back again to co-host with So-ah. And as usual, fill you guys in with the latest K-entertainment news, so stay with us until the end.
We do have lots of development in the K-entertainment world and also in the world of movies with an expert later on.
Right.
So stick around for that. But first, let's take a look at this following report. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, along with the Korea Creative Content Agency, have for the past 13 years conducted projects in support of prospective creative content creators. This year, these programs have seen more than 300 mentees in training. Lee Eun-jin tells us more.
The Korean blockbuster Pilot was seen by over 4.7 million people this summer. The screenwriter, just 10 years ago, was a student of the K-Content Talent Training Program.
I spent time with great mentors, fellow writers, and other mentees who share the same dream. It really nourished my writing career.
The Korea Creative Content Agency's main project is a one-on-one mentoring program with experienced content experts. Over the past 14 years, this program has produced more than 4,000 creatives, including Jang Jae-yeon, the director of the Korean film Pamyo, and Moon Ji-won, the screenwriter of Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
I attended as a mentee. It was a very helpful project where the mentor gave me continuous feedback.
I was desperate for such help, especially since I graduated. I think this creative talent program has played a great supporting role.
Many of the mentees of the program have collectively expressed that members of the content industry need a place to lean on.
The voyage of creation requires a lot of time and effort. Focusing on fostering young talent, we will strengthen the project foundation to turn the creators' imaginations into Korean wave content.
The most important element in growing the content market is competitiveness. The Korea Creative Content Agency emphasized that it will continue to become the center of providing various follow-up support for creative talents. Lee Eun-jin, Arirang News.
Wow, it's really great to see how these people behind the big name K-movies and K-dramas, I mean, Extraordinary Attorney Woo, how they benefited from mentor-mentee programs. I mean, we are now really seeing the tangible results of such programs, we could say.
Right. It could take a long time for, these people, writers or producers, to succeed. However, sometimes you just need that little, extra push or support.
Of course. And for movies, you sometimes need that extra push or support, as you mentioned, but also sometimes it needs an extra special stage, an appropriate stage to debut.
Like the Seoul Independent Film Festival.
Right, that is what we are going to delve into a bit, and also into your K-Enter news.
Right.
But first, let's go over to our AI anchor Ari for some of her latest culture-related news.
Welcome to the Culture Wave AI News. I am Ari, here to guide you through the latest news and events in Korea's cultural scene. Here's our first story of the day. Popular online games meet traditional Korean crafts. Nexon has partnered with the Korea Heritage Agency to transform its iconic games, Maple Story, Mabinogi, and the Kingdom of the Winds into traditional art pieces. Titled Shaping Time in Search of Another World, the exhibition showcases the work of national and tangible cultural heritage holders and contemporary craft artists inspired by the games. It is open to all visitors at Deoksugung Palace until December 1st. The Seoul city government has launched a food tourism program offering foreign tourists the chance to experience K-drama-inspired Korean cuisine. Cooking classes will be held every Thursday and Sunday at a studio near Sinchon Station, where participants can learn to make dishes featured in popular K-dramas, such as Extraordinary Attorney Woo, Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha, and Reply 1988. Additionally, A separate home meal cooking class will be available across 13 Seoul stay and Hanok accommodations. The program will run until the end of the year, with registration available at www.onemoretrip.net. The 2024 Seoul Design International Forum convened renowned domestic and international experts on Wednesday, who shared views to strengthen Seoul's position as a design leading city. This year's forum focused on discussing the systematic implementation and future direction of the Design Seoul 2.0 project, announced last year. The event featured special talks with Seoul Mayor Oh Se-un, Red Dot President Peter Zek, and senior partner at Zaha Hadid Architects, Craig Kiner. Various panel discussions were also held to explore strategies for advanced urban development through design. And that's all from me. Stay tuned for more cultural news and engaging discussions coming your way.
Time for some K-entertainment news with Bella Kim. Bella, today we have another update regarding the K-pop girl group NewJeans and their agency ADOR.
Yes, so that's right. Today is the final deadline for the agency ADOR to respond to the ultimatum NewJeans sent 2 weeks ago. On November 13th, NewJeans sent a certification of content to ADOR demanding that the company rectifies all significant breaches of the exclusive contracts within 14 days of receiving that letter. And now it has been 14 days as of today, Korea time. NewJeans also stated that if their demands are not met, that they will terminate their contracts with ADOR.
So D-Day is here. Any words from ADOR?
Well, we have heard back from ADOR. On Wednesday, ADOR uploaded a post on social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, that read, "We ask Belief Lab to show respect towards Hani and not disregard her plea." The post continued, "ADOR has sincere faith in the artist's words, and we truly sympathize with the damage caused to Hani." Now, this statement is related to the incident that occurred back on May 27th, when one of the managers from Belief Lab told other artists to ignore Hani. However, other than this, ADOR has not made any additional official statements yet.
That meaning ADOR has yet to speak out about a number of other issues. So what is NewJeans' next move?
Well, as Min Hee-jin, the former ADOR CEO, left the company last week, the question is now, will NewJeans follow Min? Unfortunately, we do not have the answer to this yet. However, industry insiders are predicting that the conflict between NewJeans and ADOR may ultimately escalate to legal proceedings, as NewJeans will likely terminate their exclusive contracts with ADOR. Now, even if they do, it is unlikely that NewJeans can avoid penalties. If ADOR is found to not be at fault, NewJeans could face penalties of up to 600 billion won, that is about $4.3 million US, as they still have around 5 years left of their contracts. And if ADOR's fault is acknowledged, well, that penalty might be reduced. Nothing is for sure yet, and it looks like this could extend to a longer dispute, so I'll definitely keep you guys updated.
All right, please do so. And we're going to move on with some exciting news about a comeback.
That's right. Kyuhyun from K-pop boy group Super Junior has released his first full-length solo album, Colors. On Wednesday, he introduced the new album at a listening session where he also celebrated his 10-year anniversary as a solo artist. Kyuhyun said he wanted to commemorate the milestone meaningfully, which kind of motivated him to create this album. Colors features 10 tracks, including Unending Days, which is a heartfelt ballad, that delves into the lingering pain of breakup. Other tracks showcase diverse styles, and Kyuhyun even tried rap for the first time in this upbeat dance track, Bring It On. So make sure you give it a listen.
Well, bring it on, Kyuhyun.
I know.
I mean, rapping Kyuhyun. I hope his fans will like this new part of him, because he's very known for his, his dreamy and beautiful voice when he sings ballads. Speaking of which, can actually fans of him see him on the stage maybe in the future?
Near future, yes. Kyuhyun will begin his Asia tour with 3 dates in Seoul, December 20th, to 22nd at Olympic Hall, and he emphasized his goal of, consistently sharing his music with his fans instead of focusing on chart performance. On top of his tour, Kyuhyun is also set to star in the musical Man Who Laughs, 웃는 남자 in Korean, which is set to be released or showed next year.
Oh, that's going to make his fans laugh.
Definitely.
All right, thank you very much, Bella, for those K-Enter news.
My pleasure.
까마까지 참눈 꾀꼬리 물론 병아리 개똥 집밥 위에 기러기 큰 구리 제비 갈매기 방울새 건방새 검은 사막답새 솔새 사좀 거든 솔새 검은 머리 울대새 햇빛새 개두루미 바위종다리 성게개미 식구엉이 호사도요 붉은 머리 호목눈이 설계 참미 감독소리 노랑불이 저새 가면 올빼미 날아든다.
증비산이 울어 천리시대는 정산으로 돌고 이골물이 꼴꼴 열이 우골물이 한대로 합수쳐 천방조 칠방조 불턱쳐 구부저 방울이 끔저 건너편 곡서구다 빠져가 꽝마주 내려산이 울렁거려.
The Seoul Independent Film Festival, South Korea's only competitive indie film fest, has kicked off. Now in its 50th year, the event will look back on its history and look ahead to new cinematic possibilities. Let's delve into the SIF with Jae So, professor and filmmaker at Seoul Institute of the Arts. Welcome, Professor So. Thanks for joining us again.
Nice to be back. Hi.
All right, so 50 years of the Seoul Independent Film Festival. Thousands of films have been introduced through this event. There's probably lots to remember, especially for you, Professor. So let's begin with the meaning of this specific film festival and maybe an assessment of yours.
Yeah, well, I've been to the festival numerous times. It's one of the oldest film festivals in Korea. It started in 1975 as a Korea Youth Film Festival, and then it changed its name to SIFF now, Seoul Independent Film Festival. And basically it showcases all the independent films, and the definition of independent films is sort of funny. In the US it would be like non-Hollywood movies made by the big studios, but in Korea I think almost every movie is an independent movie in the sense that if you don't have conglomerate money from like CJ or Lotte. But this festival is basically showcases a lot of documentaries, experimental works, things like this. And this year's slogan is called 50 to Infinity. And that's symbolizing 50 years of having been a festival in existence. And this year I heard that they had something like 1,704 submissions for films. So that's about 24% more than last year. So basically a lot of filmmakers all around the world wants to be part of this festival. And this year's program is about 133 films. So there's 92 feature films and 41 shorts. And basically it features all the kinds of movies that you don't normally see except for festivals, like, a lot of documentary works, experimental works, works about queer culture. Also, the movies are not traditional narrative in a sense, so it could be something that's sort of really different. So it showcases everything from sort of like the beginnings of certain filmmakers, like I think, directors like Bong Joon-ho and Kang Jae-gyu. These are huge directors that actually started out at this festival. The recent sort of like, I would say, graduates of the festival, like Na Hong-jin or Yeon Sang-ho. Yeon Sang-ho directed Train to Busan, things like that. So it's a festival that celebrates sort of independent spirit, and also sort of I would say, non-traditionally made narrative films.
You just mentioned the higher admissions. Is there a particular reason for that, or just because it is, I mean, the 50th anniversary?
Well, I mean, basically, it's a very famous festival, and also it's the last festival of the year. You know, we had Busan, Jeonju,
Right.
so it's like one of the big festivals that happens at the end of the year. So I think a lot of filmmakers, it's like their last chance to showcase their movies. So I think, you know, this year there's a lot of production. I know I teach cinema, so a lot of filmmakers, and you know, that I'm sort of like teaching now, they're really looking at this festival to get into. You
I
know.
see.
It is definitely great to see those high participating views. And as the opening film, I heard that there will be an experimental film. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? And why do these experimental films have such an important, you know, place at this Seoul Independent Film Festival?
The name of the film is The Baek Show, End of Civilization. Directors Park Kyung-gyun, and actually I've worked with him. Yeah, so we were going to make a documentary about Baek Nam-jun. He was the director, I was a producer. But anyway, he's an interesting guy. The director is basically both a filmmaker and also he does a lot of installation art. He graduated from CalArts. So, but this movie started out as basically, it's a documentary, but an experimental documentary about the actor, you know, Baek, who basically, Baek Hyun-jin, who basically he himself is sort of like a multifaceted artist that does everything from music to film acting to stage acting. And so there was a project that was part of the Sejong Center for Performing Arts called the Sync Next 23. So there's a whole bunch of sort of, I would say, stage-oriented, performance-oriented shows that competed, and then his show won was selected. And so director Park decided to, you know, showcase this sort of the making of this performance. And so it's an interesting film because it's like a documentary at certain times, and then it mixes with a lot of people. And there's a lot of really famous people, like actors like Kim Go-eun suddenly appear in this. So I think it's a perfect kind of movie to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the film festival.
I mean, we just saw a part of the trailer, and I also watched it before, and I felt like I am at a theatrical play watching it, as if these actors are right in front of me. So that's really going to be an interesting part of the SIFF or SIFF this year. But is there anything notably special about this year's program, apart from the opening film, of course?
Well, the one that I was told that everybody should look after is basically the indie film archive section, which basically, you know, celebrating sort of the 50th anniversary, they made this section for about 6 films where basically the programmer, Kim Young-woo, said that they saw sort of this year like an uptick in a lot of documentaries and experimental films. But this section is sort of celebrating the traditional Korean cinema. So what they did was they digitally restored Korea's early independent films. So the movie is having movies by Kim Il-suk called Marriage Story, which is actually was a very big hit at the time, and Hak Il-jung's The Ritual of a Soldier. So this section sort of like, I think, celebrates even sort of the early parts of Korean cinema. And I really like that section. And basically there are other sections where there are sort of international films that were invited to the festival. So you get a myriad of both local programming and also international programming. That's sort of a lot of like what festivals do, but I think this year there's a specialness to this festival because it's been around for so long, and so many films have gone through this festival, and so many directors have sort of become what we know as sort of like famous Korean filmmakers of today. You know, like even Park Chan-wook probably went through this festival as well, which, you know, submitting short films and things like that. I know for one thing, you know, I've also submitted movies and been rejected at this festival, so it's a little painful for me to talk about, but at the same time, you know, I admire the competition and everything in it. Yeah.
For sure.
That definitely sounds very interesting, the indie film archive section. Other than this, is there any other films that people should, you know, keep an eye out for at SIFF?
Yeah, so I wanted to recommend, you know, I saw a couple of the screeners for these films, and basically, you know, you have basically showcase section where you just see the movies, and then there's actually a competition section where there's going to be awarded at the end of the festival, which ends on the 6th of December. So there's 4 films I want to recommend. So there's an interesting documentary feature called "The Pig That Survived the Foot and Mouth Disease." So this is
the title itself sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So the director is Ha Bo-muk, and basically it features it's an animated movie, but it features the pig that sort of escapes violence, and it's an animation. So he's half pig, half human.
Oh.
And basically, I really like the way the animation was made, and it really holds your attention. It really talks about how we treat animals, and also just the theme of violence that permeates throughout the film. It also talks about basically what humans do to the environment, things like that. So I thought that was really interesting. And then there's another sort of movie that I actually saw at the Busan Film Festival called The Face of Hwani, and this is director Kim Lee-jae-han. And basically, this is a movie that it's interesting in the fact that it's sort of like a novel in the sense that it's divided into 4 sections. It's about a writer, and basically there are 4 curious sections that are sort of come together at the end. But basically, one section would be like an unwelcome guest at a restaurant, things like that. So thematically linked. But when I saw it in Busan, I thought, wow, this is kind of a new type of filmmaking, because it kind of basically it's many different stories in one movie, but it's thematically linked. And of course, the main character Hwani is a writer in it. Yeah. And then there's 2 more that I want to recommend. These are short films. So this is up for one of them up for competition is a movie called 4,000 BPM, director Hwang Ji-won. And in this movie, it's 10 minutes long. So shorts are really great. And what I liked about this movie is that it's about a boy who he's losing weight, so he has to do 4,000 jump ropes.
Oh.
And he has a little machine, and it's at 3,999, right? So his mother says, finish it, but the machine's busted. But somehow he doesn't know what to do, but he meets this girl around his age. They befriend each other, and somehow, the machine falls, and he actually reaches the number.
4,000?
Yeah.
Wow!
But it's really kind of a fun film in the fact that, it's almost like something that you would see daily outside that was just encapsulated in a really nice narrative. And then in the Choice Showcase for shorts, there's a movie called Past a Teenager by director Kim Na-young. And it's about sort of a 20-year-old woman who is just searching for her identity in this film. And so it's about, under 20 minutes. Again, these shorts are really great because what you do is you get the sense that a filmmaker is really trying to give you a message in a short amount of time. So it's very compressed storytelling, very efficient. Whereas a feature-length film, you would sit there for 2 hours, really engrossing into different plots and characters. In a short, it's really sort of like a one-punch, one-moment thing, where when you watch it, it's really interesting. Of course, you watch them comprised of many different shorts in one section, but I really enjoyed them.
Wow, very diverse range of movies that we can look out for. Now, Professor Su, the SIFF also has established itself as a great stage for up-and-coming actors.
Yeah.
So can you please name us some that have grown popular to the public right now? And also, it seems like this year's SIFF is also really focused on these newcomers. So also enlighten us on the nature of independent film festivals in terms of, having to discover these actors.
Yes. So a lot of actors, not only filmmakers, I think actors get their break at these at the festival. And so some of them are like Kwon Min-jung, who's been in a lot of Hong Sang-soo movies. So she started out in this festival. And Han Ye-ri, who from Minari, she was in an independent movie in this festival that sort of launched her career. Now she's doing, a lot of dramas and things like that. Another actor that I would like to say is Lee Jae-hoon, who in this festival, basically, I think he won at the time, Best Actor Award for it, and it was a movie called Bleak Night. It was directed by, actually, Yoon Sung-yeon, an ex-student of mine, a graduate of the Seoul Institute of the Arts. But basically, he's gone on to big films, like he recently was in Escape, and also Time to Hunt, Netflix movie, and then My Paparotti, which is like a movie that a lot of Koreans really watch. So these actors get a chance to, I think independent movies are the ultimate platform because for one thing, you're not well known, so you're very cheap. You don't get a lot of movie salary, but at the same time, you get the opportunity to kind of be on the stage. If your film gets selected in a film festival, and a lot of these actors have done that, they've gone on to actually bigger projects. And I think in a certain sense, some of the filmmakers have only stayed in the independent realm, but I think what actors do is, basically it showcases their amazing acting skills. And suddenly, the sort of more the mainstream directors of different series on Netflix or Disney Plus would pick them up for a series. So I think it's a really good platform for them to launch.
Looking forward to many newcomers on the SIFF stage. Now, speaking as an expert, Professor So, we would also like to ask you, what do you think will be the tasks ahead for the Seoul Independent Film Festival to continue its value and grow?
Well, going back a little bit, there's actually a choice thing that they did 7 years ago, where the actor Kwon Hae-hyo, who's in a lot of shows, he was in like a lot of series. He worked with a lot of independent movies, but he created this section. Basically, it's called the 60-second monologue section. So it's an actor's project, and so everybody submits things like that, and they pick up the actor. So I'm really curious who's going to be the actor they chose this year. But I think in terms of going back to your question about sort of what this festival signifies is, again, the independent spirit, sort of movies that are sort of outside the mold of just mainstream, is really important because it's sort of the breeding ground for ideas about new filmmaking and storytelling. And as a result, if something interesting comes out of these festivals, the mainstream will pick that up and it will become sort of more well-known. So I think what independent film festivals all around the world do is basically give opportunity, give a platform to sort of unknown new talent that is hidden away. They don't really get a chance to do it in the big festivals like I would say Cannes Film Festival. You have to be kind of a well-established filmmaker. But I think the Independent Film Festival is somebody, anybody off the street that actually made a really good film, or an actor that nobody knows about, was acting just amazingly in this one movie, just gets to be sort of seen on the big stage. Because even though it's not as well covered as a lot of film festivals, all the filmmakers, all the people behind the scenes take notice of the talent that's seen here.
Very meaningful. Right, Professor So, thank you very much for your insights today. You have raised our interest and also our excitement for us this year. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We'll see you again next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave, and hope you join us again on Friday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.